Okay, so as promised, we are going to discuss the video footage, the taxi driver's claims, and also the audio footage that was released this week, right? So let's jump straight into it and let's look at the video footage, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen already. Now, a lot of people are saying that, well, if she fears him so much, why did she chase him? Now, according to Jabbari, she was chasing him in order to find out who that person was connected to the text message, I wish I was kissing you right now. Right. So obviously she's thinking Jonathan is cheating on her. She just wants to know what is going on. Now he doesn't tell her and then he runs away. Now, this can be seen in two ways. In fact, to me, it could only really be seen in one way, but bear with me. On one hand, Jonathan is 6 years old and has no ability to communicate emotions or deal with any difficult situations. On the other hand, he was withholding that information in order to torture Jabbari. Now, we've seen in other clips some of his emotional abuse, and that would fall in line with the other things that we've seen him do or heard him do, the more emotionally abusive type things. Because what he would be doing here is he would be withholding information that she very much wants and very much needs in order to make a decision about the relationship, or at least know where she stands in the relationship, right? He's withholding that, but then he's running away and saying, all I want to do is get away from you. And it's like, well, you can answer the question, but now suddenly, instead of telling her about this, you just want to get away from her. Isn't that convenient? Don't you think that's convenient? And there are people saying, well, if she's so afraid of him, why did she chase him? And it's like, that's like saying, if you're so afraid of your abusive boyfriend, why do you go back? One doesn't equal the other. Just because you're afraid doesn't mean that you're not going to pursue a situation. Just because you're afraid doesn't mean you won't argue with them. Like, a woman will be afraid and still fight back. They will be afraid and still go back to the relationship. It's not logical. So basically, you can't really say if she was so afraid of him, she wouldn't chase him, because that is not actually true. Especially if she thinks she's being cheated on. At this point, she's probably chasing him to A, find out, get to the bottom of who this person is that he's conversing with, and B, to make sure he's not going to that other woman, right? There are many different reasons why she could be chasing him, apart from her being an aggressor and an abusive person. But let's watch the video. So he's forcibly picking her up and putting her back in the car. Now, a lot of people are saying here that he just wanted to get away from her. He just wanted to get away from her. This is debatable, because here's the thing. She was not, as far as I could see in that section, she was not doing anything aggressive towards him. So there was no need for that type of restraint, as in to pick her up and put her back in the car. This could be seen as unnecessary force, which would fall under physical abuse. Yeah. Literally, there's a section of physical abuse that covers restraining someone unnecessarily or with unnecessary force. In this situation, he's picking her up and putting her back in the car when she's not really serving as a threat. Now, okay, there are some of you that are saying, well, John Major said that she assaulted him. Yeah, and they arrested her for that due to basically the formality of the situation. There's an accusation, so then there then needs to be some sort of arrest. But when they looked into it, there was no evidence to charge her or support his claim at all. So to everybody out there saying that she assaulted him, I need you to give me some evidence of that, because the police couldn't find any. Okay, which is why she wasn't charged. Okay, so that aside, so let's just go with what we actually know. She wasn't charged because there wasn't enough evidence, so we can just put aside that she physically assaulted him thing. So now he's leaving the car. He picks her up and puts her back in the car, which was totally unnecessary, because she actually isn't a threat, because we don't have any proof that she was a threat. Remember that, right? And here we are. We're outside of the car now. She's following him because she wants to know who the woman was on the phone. Not so crazy. This is what we women are going to do. That's not so outrageous, right? Now let's see what happens. So she's attempting to hold on to him to find out what's going on, and he pushes her. So we've got a shove. so that he can get away. He could have just ran, but okay, he shoved her again, pushing, shoving, forceful, unnecessary restraint. These are all forms of physical abuse right here. Where in this do you see her physically assault him? Yeah, she does attempt to hold him, but not doing it in any kind of like violent way. She doesn't even get a firm grip on his arm in that. And I know some of you are thinking, okay, but you know, the assault was in the car. But whether that did or did not happen, what we're seeing right now is him being the physical aggressor twice in this situation. So if she did assault him in the car, she calmed down really quickly because she's not being aggressive towards him at all. He's the only one right in front of our faces being physically aggressive in any way. So now they're running through the streets. They're running. She's running after him. Literally a scene from a movie at this point. So she's following him for blocks, basically. Now, at this point, she's like, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to get this information. I'm just going to you know, chill out. So at this point, she's not chasing him anymore. She's walking, which would fall in line with what she said, because a lot of people are saying that she was contradicting herself because, you know, she said that she was walking and she was actually actively running after him. Well, there's a section here where she was walking, so she didn't lie. She was just talking about a different part of the situation, right? Let's make that clear. So now she's like not chasing him at all. She's basically talking to people. She's talking to them, but I'm assuming about it. We don't know. And look what happens. Interestingly enough, here comes Jonathan Major walking back. Now, here's my question. Why would you do that? You were running away from her. You just wanted to get away from her. That's all you wanted to do. So when you find out that you've lost her, why would you then go and walk back the way that you came? I want you guys to think about that. Why would you do that? You want to get away from her. You don't know where she is, but you know you lost her. It's almost like he's like, what's the word? Retracing his steps. Like, you've lost her. Get in a cab, go home or wherever you want to go. But he doesn't. He just walks back on himself. And then when he sees her, you know, ignores her and all of that stuff. It's almost like he wanted to go back and toy with her some more. That's what that appears to me like, because I'm like, okay, you wanted to get away from her. Why have you come back? And this is what happens a lot of the time in toxic, narcissistic, and abusive dynamics. When the person unhooks themselves from the grasp of whatever it is that you're baiting them with, the toxic, the narcissist, and the abuser usually comes back. And this is what we're seeing here. Like, he doesn't come back fully, but he comes back to taunt her some more, right? To see, you know, what's going on and to punish her and to make her feel crap some more. He's still coming back. Like, why are you not in a taxi halfway home at this point? I don't understand why he did that. Did he forget something in the cab that he ran away? Was that the only way? This is not making sense. To me, it looks like he just wanted to come back and toy with her a bit more. He was having fun. This is fun to him. You know, he's lapping up the attention here. She's coming after him again. So it all starts all over again because he doesn't want anything to do with her, remember? But here he is lapping up the attention again. So yeah, they'll do that. They'll literally just keep you in the vicinity just so they can continue to torture you. So what he's doing is, again, in alignment with the toxic, narcissist, and abusive dynamic. What he did here, he's not sitting down to have a discussion about who the woman is. He's not giving her the respect of answering questions that she has the right to ask, because let's not forget, this is his girlfriend at this time. She has the right to asking who the woman is on the phone. And instead of him having a conversation with her about that, he tells her to get lost and runs through the streets of New York. And apparently she's the aggressor because she ran after him to find out who the woman was, a question she absolutely has the right to ask. It became crazy because of his behavior. I need you guys to kind of really understand that. A lot of people are judging her for running through the streets after him, but it became crazy because of the way that he behaved. And she's responding to that because she still wants the information. She still wants to know who that woman was. Obviously, this doesn't make her an aggressor. This makes her a normal woman wanting to find out if her boyfriend is cheating on her. But instead of him having a conversation with her, telling her whatever he needs to tell her, in order for her to be better informed about that situation, he withholds that information, which is a form of emotional abuse, by the way, and then basically runs through the streets, knowing that she wants that information and has her chasing him for that information. And then when she quits, when she gives up, he actually retraces his steps only to bump into her again, surprise, surprise, to then continue to tell her to go away. And after that point, obviously, he's got her control. He's got her attention again. She's following him again. And the cycle continues, right? In my mind, that's what he wanted. Because why isn't he on a taxi halfway home? It doesn't make any sense. And then with the taxi driver, a lot of people are saying that, what he saw confirms that, she was the aggressor in the situation. But I need to correct you with that, because what he saw was nothing. He didn't actually see anything. He only heard the situation. So obviously, the person who's making the most fuss will sound like the aggressor. And guess who's going to make the most fuss in a situation where a woman suspects her boyfriend is cheating? Guess who's going to make the most fuss, right? And he has interpreted that as, well, the way that I heard it was that she hit him. How do you know? You didn't see it. Maybe she was saying something and he actually hit her. He doesn't know for a fact that that didn't happen because he didn't see it. So in that, he basically saw nothing, but he did see him trying to get away from her at the end and getting out the cab, which doesn't confirm anything. Jonathan trying to get away from Jabbari is not proof that Jabbari wasn't hit in the car. Jonathan running through the streets of New York isn't proof that he did not assault her in the car. None of this is proof that he didn't actually hit her in the car. So right now we've got no evidence that he didn't. So everything that's covered so far doesn't actually prove that he didn't do it. And twice in that footage, you see him get physical with her. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. Remember that footage. And now let's go to the audio where he is telling her that she needs to be more like Michelle Obama and Coretta Scott King. Now, this was disturbing to me for so many reasons. So many reasons. So let's play it and discuss.
How dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? I would like to get to the point where your friends know what job I'm on and go, I think Grace is going to be out of commission.
Yeah, I won't.
No, you understand that? Because that team, Grace has to be in a certain mindset to support Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife, Michelle Obama.
Okay, let's stop right there. First of all, there were friends of hers who said that she changed. She started going out less, and her life basically overall changed when she was with John Majors, right? She didn't really have her spark for life anymore. What you're hearing right now could be considered covert isolation. This is where your abuser, your toxic, your narcissist will make a fuss either before you go out or after you go out and create arguments so that you come to your own understanding that you shouldn't go out anymore. This is the covert way in which they isolate you. They don't say you should never go out. They'll just create arguments around you going out. Because if you notice here, he doesn't say you shouldn't go out. But that's essentially what he's actually saying. Then he goes on to compare her to, so we're triangulating her at this point, to Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama. Those are some big boots to fill. Let's listen.
To support Coretta Scott King. No, you understand that? Because that team, Grace has to be in a certain mindset to support Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama's wife.
I know, I'm not. I shouldn't have gone out. I'm sorry.
Let me just lay it out for you.
You see, she's already come to the conclusion that she shouldn't have gone out, and now she's sorry about going out. But he didn't say not to go out. He's talking about, these other women and comparing her to these great women, and saying that she should be more like that. That's the mindset that she should have. Now, there are so many things wrong with that. A, he's triangulating her, right? So she's automatically going to feel less than these women. B, he's setting like unrealistic expectations for her. She's not Michelle Obama, and he is not Barack Obama. He's setting these high expectations for her, yet he's not meeting any of the expectations that go with that. Are you guys getting it? It's like, okay, but you're not Barack Obama or Martin Luther King. They need that level of support. You don't, because that's not where you're operating either. So your standards for yourself are down here, yet you set standards for her that are through the roof. And this is what toxic narcissists and abusers do, to make you feel as though you're not cutting it. And because of the confusion, because of everything, you will eat this up, and you will start comparing yourself to great women and beating yourself up for not being that, forgetting that your partner is nowhere near that themselves. This guy's an actor. So again, emotionally abusive right here. Let's listen to the rest.
I'm just gonna say this. My temper, my trauma, blah, I'm a great man. I am doing great things.
Okay, so then he touches on his temper and all of that, and then excuses it by saying he's a great man. Why are you talking about your temper at all if it's not part or a feature in your relationship? So the fact that it's a feature in the relationship to the point where you have to mention it, but then he doesn't go into it any further than that. He just brushes it off and starts talking about how he's a great guy. Don't think that's sus. If we take into account the text messages from before and the emotional abuse that he's actually introducing in this conversation. And also there's undertones here, because both of those great women are Black women. So we've got an undertone of racism coming in here as well. So not only is she made to feel bad because she's not operating at the level of these other women, but also indirectly because these women are strong Black women. So she's also being made to feel bad for not being that. So again, she's getting the message that she is not good enough. Now, I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but either way, that is the end result. Her feeling bad about herself and not feeling good enough as a person or even as a race. And then we start hearing the grandiose version of himself. Listen to this.
Not just for me, but for my.
Let's do it.
I'm just gonna say this. My temper, my trauma, blah, I'm a great man. I am doing great things. Not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That's real. I'm not down.
That is not real. That is not real. What are you doing for the world? Okay, I get that you're a good actor and you've had some roles that have opened up the door for other Black people, but then so did Halle Berry and so many other people before you, Black actors before you. So you're not the first and you won't be the last. How are you changing the world, my friend? This grandiose sense of self is really coming out in this conversation, which is very narcissistic. Very narcissistic. So he's got this inflated idea of who he is and what he's doing when he's not operating at the level of his grandiose sense of self. This is where it becomes delusional.
I didn't ask for it. I worked in that situation. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman and make sacrifices the way that man is making for her and for them ultimately.
Okay, he's talking about the greats. He's saying that the woman he has next to him needs to make sacrifices the way that the men, the Martin Luther King and the Barack Obama, made sacrifices for the women. But what sacrifices have you made for her? Like, I'm not clear on what those sacrifices are. I mean, I'm not clear on what that might be. That he has sacrificed for her to put her in a position where she now should be sacrificing on an equal level, because if we're going for equal level, then she is right where she needs to be, going out and having her fun and living her life, because I don't see him making any sacrifices for her per se. They're not even married, so we can't even say that he's made that much of a commitment. And this is why it's disturbing to me, because this is what toxic narcissists and abusers will do. They will give you these grand expectations. They'll give you these great demands whilst giving literally nothing to the relationship. He hasn't even married her. He hasn't even committed that far, yet he's saying basically that she shouldn't go out. She's got to basically sacrifice for him and support him in his great mission to, I don't know, make another movie. Like, what are we doing? So, okay, from this, We can see that he's grandiose. We can see that he uses triangulation. We can see that he basically plays games. We can see that he doesn't give her a direct answer to questions she has the right to ask in a healthy relationship. We can see all of this from this footage, from the audio and from the video footage. That is what we can actually see. We don't see her assaulting him. We see him being physical to her twice. Now, whether it's physical abuse is up for debate, but we see him being physical with her twice, unnecessarily. She's not attacking him. Now, if she came out of the car swinging and then he picked her up and put her in the car, I'd be like, okay, right? Come on, like that was necessary. But she literally just wanted to follow. She came out of that car so meekly. And even when she's like holding onto him, she's doing it so meekly. His level of response to that was completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. And we know that she didn't actually assault him. And we are no clearer from the taxi guy and his testimony as to who hit who in the car, because he just heard what was happening. He didn't see anything. And he actually said, I felt like she hit him. That doesn't mean anything, because feeling like it is not like an eyewitness to the situation. They say that he didn't go home to his apartment because he just wanted to get away from her. That's one way to think about it. Or maybe he didn't go home because he wanted to leave her to be tortured and simmer in the fact that he might be with someone else at this point in time. Because if you know how emotional abusers like to do that, right? So did he not go home because he wanted to be away from her, or did he just not go home because he wanted her to think that he was with another woman and wanted to mentally torture her? Which kind of backfired, because what happens? He ends up coming to his apartment and she's basically taking some pills and he has to call the police. So in that, his little mind games completely blew up in his face. And that's what I see here. I see him playing mind games and torturing her emotionally. Now, we don't have any evidence that he physically hit her, which is unfortunate, but he is definitely abusive in that relationship and is the primary abuser in that relationship, from what I've seen, from the text messages, from the audios, from everything that I've seen. He is the aggressor in the situation all round. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel and hit that bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And until the next time, live boldly, live empowered, live from the inside out. Bye for now.